welcome everyone. We are on the study group for May 8th. And glad to have you here. We're going to do part 2 of Vibes. I don't know how far we're going to get, but we're going to see how far we get. And there is a part 1. So if you did miss that, please check the recording out. I'll show you where that is. It's in our YouTube channel, but that way you can make sure that you have, gotten up to par where we're at now. And, but great to have you here with us. It's just fun for me. So I hope you're enjoying the series of the Vibe section. We actually had to change some speakers around. I don't think you all knew that anyway, because the scheduling is behind the scenes. So this day became open and they're like, who can do it? And I'm like, hey, I'll do part 2. I'm game. So that's why I am here. And why RJ's not here is because it's his 15-year anniversary with his wife. Yay! 15 years. Can't believe it's been that long.
That is some impressive camera trickery there.
My favorite photo of all time. Seriously, I'd have to say it's my favorite photo. I knew the photographer and I had seen it done somewhere. And I was like, I asked her, I'm like, could you give that a try? So they did, of course. Amber is up on a that is like, it was a rock wall
there.
Yeah, rock wall. So she's way far away, but isn't that cool?
Yeah, they actually had his hand make it look like it's going underneath her ground.
Yeah. And that is not photoshopped. That is a real photo.
I think he had to do the hand part. They had to do that.
Well, she might have touched something up there. Yeah. I don't know what she did for that. Maybe, you know what?
The picture is him in the foreground, her in the background, and they angled it just right so that, they line up.
Yes. And it was a downhill slope. You know what I think they did? I think he had a napkin on his hand because it's not.
Oh, clever. All right. Yeah.
But now the part hanging down is her dress, So
yeah, it's still in the background. Yep.
Yeah. But isn't that a cool picture? I was like, I need to share that. So yeah, 15 years. And the coolest thing is they did live away for the first few years of their marriage. And then he moved back to a home that he had previously purchased that is right on the other side of our woods. So their kids play in the woods that RJ grew up in. And so they're very close. But we try not to be too, invasive. We're good in-laws. We're good parents, but 8 children. Just love it. I'm really grateful. So that's why RJ's not here. Yeah. So as you know, we haven't had an issue with this for a very long time. Thankfully, there was some weird things happening in the class or in the study group. So we had to put this up there, but everybody's been well behaved. So thank you. Just integrity there. And then also to mention the library of our study group, the Integration Quest YouTube channel. It's not monetized. We don't make a dime. We just do it because we want to have resources for you available. I also have a Digital D channel too that I have a lot of other things there. Should have merged them together. I don't know. It just turned out that it was easier for me to post it in my own from Canva and that kind of thing. So at any rate, there's 2 different channels and glad to have those and share those with you for sure. So this video or this segment will also be there. So by the way, that will end up being in the Integration Quest channel. So like I said, if you weren't able to do part 1 of this, you may be in observation mode, but you can certainly, come back around and catch up. And I don't know if I'm doing a part 3. We'll see how far we get today. I have an agenda, but you never know what's going to happen. A little bit about me, for those of you, I think most everybody knows me, but just quickly, I'm an instructor. I love to teach. That's why we'd love to do this. Integration Quest is all about, continuing that. And even though this is not an official community type of an event, it does count if you're an ambassador or a mentor and you need to present something. So we do want to open that door and let you know. Some of you are already presenting, so thank you for that. Francis, I think you're presenting coming up pretty soon, aren't you?
That's right, but I'm going to delay it a bit because I'm starting a new job a bit sooner than I thought, and I'm also going to be in Turkey for a week.
Oh my goodness. Okay, cool. Well, we'll compensate, so no worries. That's kind of how this one went. And someone who had to reschedule was looking for a more recent, newer date. So that may help them, and that will be on Data Weave. So yeah, it's cool. And likewise, if you schedule something and life happens, we're not worried about that. We're just gonna compensate and come up with something, or we'll drag Ryan back in here. Ryan's going to be coming back in too, I'm sure. So at any rate, but I'm passionate about what I do. I also am a practice lead for Cloudblazer. You might hear a little bit about that. And so in that realm, I also have a lot of team members that I'm mentoring. We're working on projects. We've closed some projects. We've turned around a Red account. It's just great to be hands-on in the field and see the needs there, and see sometimes the challenging and not best practices that other teams have done. So please, when we tell you to follow best practices, that is really, really important, really important. So anyway, enough about me, enough said. Let me switch over to another presentation here. And I didn't want to merge them because the templates are different. So hang on one second. Here we go. Okay, so this was actually from part 1. I'm going to breeze through it pretty quickly, just as a quick review. And I have to emphasize some of this because I have been really working with Vibes a lot more, and it has even become more apparent of its abilities and where you need to also step in and guide it more seriously. So it truly is an AI coding partner. And by partner, I mean, sometimes you need to tell it what to do. Okay. And I mean, like, I had to correct it a couple of times. So it's not about replacing you. I think someone's got an open mic. If y'all could check your mics real quick, that'd be cool. It's not about replacing us, because I can tell you from my testimony over the last, couple of weeks when I've really been diving in, it's more about, guiding it, and it's about freeing you up to, to oversee what it's created, do code, code review on it. And if there's things that you don't feel like should be there, you tell it that and it'll rework it. So it's kind of like a, truly a developer partner. But it does help you build things a lot faster. It helped me think about things I hadn't necessarily thought about. And of course, MUnit. MUnit. Some of you know my history with MUnit. I started in the MuleSoft community doing MUnit presentations. Me and Shrevin was also, we were swapping notes, and I was giving him some of my stuff. And anyway, super buddy there, Shrevin, who is in the MuleSoft community. Golden hoodie. He's got all the clout. And but anyway, so but for it to automatically create the MUnit tests is wonderful. So that's what Vibes is all about. So this is what we did part 1, where we set up. You should have previously set up Anypoint Code Builder. We've got videos on how to do that. Then part 1 talked about integrating Salesforce with Anypoint platforms. So what we did in that case, well, you don't want to see that. What we did in that case is we set up a Salesforce developer org, and we integrated Anypoint platform with Salesforce so that the Vibe component would work. And so on the Anypoint side, we went through just for a quick review, and we created our handshake here. So you have to have this. And it's all free. You can do this with a trial account. We share that with the video. Trial account and the developer Salesforce org. So it's got to be provisioned with Einstein and in order for the Vibes component to work. All right. So then we logged in. We looked at the difference between the plan mode, where we interact and just communicate with the Agentforce agent and tell it what we're wanting to do. And then there's a switch over to act mode, and it goes into creation. So that's kind of where we ended up leaving off. Or no, we created a hello world flow, and that hello world flow was where we worked with modifying the data weave code, and also I don't know if we made an MUnit test in the last one or not, but we will in this one. So when we're talking about Vibes, there's different levels. again, I won't do it justice if I don't share some of this for architects, developers, admin, and ops. So you can use the same feature. We're only using the developer part. That's it. So you can use this for architects. You can use it as admins, as well as in ops. You can do, troubleshooting. We troubleshoot the deployment of our app, and our implementation. And so it's very powerful at the 4 different levels. So once we're a little more, kind of concluding the developer part, I'll probably hop over to the architect. So I'll keep you posted on that for sure. So again, this is what we did. And then we did prompt into production. And that prompting part is natural language. How does it work? MCP server. There's an MCP server built into the packaging of Vibes. And so you'll see the commands and things that are there. So you prompt it, you plan it, you fine tune it, and you'll see everything it's doing and communicating with you along the way. And then once you're happy, then switch over into using the plan. Okay. So you feel in the vibes now. I'm going to end that and get that out of the way. All right. So let's get our Anypoint code builder up. This is kind of, I don't know. I think that this is the last one that we had done. Can't swear to it. But let me find my window for you all. 1 second. It kind of got lost. There you go. Yeah, Francis, you need to tell us about that. Yeah, Shrevenlingam. Yes, that's who it is. Check. I don't have RJ keeping an eye on the chat, so you guys are more than welcome to unmute and say hey or catch me, because if I miss your comments in the chat, I don't want to overlook anything. Okay, so you're more than welcome to do that. Okay, so like I said, part 1. We did the hello world. Why hello world? That's where you always start as a developer and creating, an application, first time in. So I thought it was appropriate. So you should, and give me find me an emoji. You should have, an emoji would be good, that you have Anypoint code builder up. You have Vibes ready to roll. And I think someone did tell me they had an issue that we can discuss, because I want open forum here. I have an agenda, but if you're stuck and you can't move forward, I think it's good for all of us to be able to say, let's see, what the root cause of that might be. And because if you can't move forward with, working with everything here, then, you're not going to be able to join with, continue with us. So if that's the case, put that in the chat, like you got stuck on a certain part. Justine, I'm talking about you, because I know you said you had an issue with something with that.
Yes, unfortunately, the Salesforce connection error still exists despite everything being properly set up. So I'm wondering if it's just like an internal employee thing where I have to connect to our own GitHub or our own server or something like that. So I don't want to detract too much, but unfortunately I wasn't able to move past that issue.
Gotcha. Yes. And you know what? I do think that it has something to do with the internal Salesforce orgs versus using the developer
org, but it's and I did authorize an org in Visual Studio, but it doesn't make sense that it's not working.
That's weird. And I know you shared that in Slack. Hold on. I'm going to bring your error message up and see if anybody has experienced this. I've not seen this one, but let me bring this.
Helpful.
1 second. Oh, there we go.
It's not my rooster.
Can you hear my rooster?
Uh-huh.
You're like, that's not my rooster. I'm trying to keep our comments over here.
It's all good. I shared my screen as well.
Oh, cool. All right. Oh, very good. All right. Sounds great. Okay. So yeah, has anyone come across this issue before? Anyone? There's supposed to be. Yeah, I have not seen this one. Now, let me ask you this. We're not actually integrating directly with Salesforce here. The integration is between Anypoint and Salesforce. So you do have or should have Vibes. Yeah, minimize that and try there's a Vibes icon in Anypoint Code Builder.
Sorry, yeah, that's where I am. So, oh,
you want to share your screen for a second? Let me look at your Anypoint Code Builder. Yeah. And when you go into Vibes, I'm going to stop sharing 1 second. Let me.
Here?
Bottom left. First of all, are you logged in?
Uh-huh.
Okay. And then, yes, does that click? There you go. I think it's working. I don't think you need to use the Salesforce code.
Well, when I try to run something.
Oh.
I think she has to click on sign in on the bottom right.
So that's the GitHub piece, which, yeah. So I think that's the issue that I have.
Now, wait a minute. That one is that the GitHub one? Okay. Close that. And on the left-hand side, all the way over, bottom of your screen, come down. There should be a login here for Anypoint.
Yes, I did that here. You can see.
Okay, so you are logged into Anypoint. Okay. Yeah,
I'll keep
that is weird. Well, you know what? We'll continue to troubleshoot that. And I want to engage either, some of the people internally that we know. I won't mention names on the video, so that we can determine, what actually occurred with that. Yeah. There's a couple people too that are real supportive of the community as well. I think Alex is back on from maternity leave or paternity leave, and then Mofi also should be able to tell us. I'll go ahead and call their names out because we sure appreciate their help. But yeah, I've not seen that one at all. Every day is a new challenge kind of a thing. And yeah, there's a rooster in the backyard here. He is very proud because his hen hatched out 6 babies. So FYI, life on the farm. But I thought there was sound canceling on this platform. If there is, I'm not seeing it. Yeah, 1 hen hatched 6. He only has 1. Chances are some of these babies will be a hen, but we'll have to swap them around. But yeah, life on the farm. Down on the farm. Okay, so let's take a look at a few things here that I thought were pretty impressive. We're going to go ahead and click on the Vibes icon on the left. See how far you get, Justine. And we'll click on the Vibes. And I want to point out a few things here. Bottom section, you see the plan versus the act. Now that's where we're going to go back and forth. The MCP server that I was telling you about is here. So let's click on the MCP server to take a look at this. And it'll be down below where you can look at the settings on this. And so I'm clicking a little fast here. Sorry. Let me close that back down. Let me show you where this is. So I clicked on the MCP server. Down here in the bottom of that window on the right is a settings icon. Gear, and I'll click on that, and then we can do the drop down here. And this is the guts. This is the brain of what we're working with when we are giving it natural language. Now I know on my laptop it's using Claude-4-Sonnet. So I'm curious to see what's on my desktop. I might be bringing my laptop in because I've got it working beautifully, whereas my desktop was kind of iffy. So, again, we're going to see how this plays out. So when you look at what's here, you actually see what the MCP server has available for the agent. So a lot of times when we're talking to the agent, it's going to say, oh, let me get this command, or I'm going to use this, create and manage metadata to get that done, or I'm going to, go tag the create API spec project. And so this is how it knows what to do. And what I found by working with this is that there are times it is so like thinking it's going to go ahead and do A, B, and C. but the correct order really needs to be different than that. Like in our world, when we're doing API led, and this is relevant to what we're doing today, is A is we create our design, right? Then we publish it to Exchange, that's B. C, then we use it in our implementation. And then D, we publish it to Exchange. Well, E, we go ahead and secure it. Okay, so when I was working with it, it did really good the first time. The second time, I'm like, okay, let's do it again for another. I'm creating 5 different APIs right now for a promo presentation I'm doing. So anyway, second one, it did fairly better. The third one, it bombed. It did, because I'm like, okay, pretty much the basic same pattern. We're going to create A, B, C, D, E. We didn't do E yet, but A, B, C, D. And I want to now do it on a billing system API, right? And so it did A, it jumped right over from the spec and did the implementation before it published to Exchange. Well, then that failed. So it got all tripped up. I was pretty surprised. So you got to watch what it's doing. You can set it on auto approve, but I like to see what it's doing, especially right now. If I trust it a little bit more, I'll let it fly. So that's where you'll see these commands that it's doing. And it's really impressive. Like it really, when I was troubleshooting a deployment, it was doing the clean Maven. It was doing the Maven commands. I'm like, yeah, you go. Because if you've ever had to do that yourself, it's really fun. Anyway, but this really helped it. You know, I really understood why it was doing what it was doing. So anyway, that is the commands. I wanted to really focus on that for you. Now, I understand that you can add other LLMs here. I've not gotten that far in my journey, but I do. Anyone know about that? Anyone know about the other LLMs you can add here? All right, to be determined. Tony, you're cracking me up about the hens. Is it a henway? Yes, she probably is. She's Maddie, the maternity department. Okay, so anyway, I wanted to point that out to you about the MCP server. And click done here. We'll come down. So I have heard that there's more we can do with these servers. And but I mean, it comes with it and it's pretty robust. So I'm very happy. Okie doke. So let's see what we have here. We're going to go ahead and start new. Okay, we're going to start new. And I'm going to create, let's see. Trying to think, the next one that I was going to do on my plan was actually a shipping status API. Okay, so I'm going to give you the liberty to create whatever you want. You know, if you want to do whatever kind of an API you want to create, I'm fine with that. We can do, you know, various things. So on my agenda for building out my network that I'm creating right now, we're going to start off and we're going to be on the plan side here. Okay, so on the planning side, I'm going to say in natural language, I like to always talk to it. Let's create a system API. And it knows what SAPI is. It seemed to when I was talking to it. Let's create a system API that will provide shipping status. Okay. It will use connections like FedEx, UPS, and what's another good one? Who do y'all use? FedEx, UPS, and I don't want to use the Postal Service. Just not going to do it. Yeah, DHL. Good one. All right.
Is it SAPI? Is it server API or why not just API?
Because it's a system API.
System, okay.
Yeah, which means, you know, it's in the category of the tiers, the system API, the process API, and experience. And it helps for it to know the purpose for this one. And I want it labeled as such too. I want it to have the system API name in the naming convention. Let's see what it does. And let's see. Oh, one thing I found is that it will be such an overachiever that it's going to come up with some kind of a security, policy specification code. And I don't want it to do that just yet. So I'm going to say leave off any security configs at this time. Okay, so I'm kind of giving it some, but I'm going to give it use basic, or I should say common field names and data types. And I'm going to send it in. Okay, so this is planning. This is planning where it's just going to communicate with me. It won't actually start doing anything. What you're seeing over here is the hello world Mule thing. Let me go ahead and close that because we're not using that. All right, so now it's starting to like come up with a plan. And I think it's trying to tag it in with my hello world. So I'm going to say, no, I want it to be a new project altogether. Let me tell it. Yeah, that's looking good. Shipping carrier data. Boy, it's like I said, it's kind of an overachiever in some ways. This will be a new project that we will begin with the API first. Okay, the API design first. Let's tell it that. All right, not flows, not an it knows it as implementation. I'm finding that word means something to it. Not an implementation. Notice it's saying create flows, configure the connectors. No, I don't want it to do that. This is an API design first. And you stop there. Because remember, I told you it got out of order in doing the other one on my laptop. My desktop is fresh. So this shouldn't be picking up any history. But it will, if you're in the same instance of the chat with it, it will keep your history from the other APIs. Like when I should bring that one in. I'll before we finish for the day, I'll bring my laptop into this meeting and let you see what it actually did. It was pretty darn impressive, like I said. All right, so let's go back up and see what it came back with. Plan created. Perfect. Let's start with API design. I told it what to do. Again, like I said, you got to tell it what to do. It's kind of like an eager child. You're going to say, yeah, you can put PAPI or eAPI, yes, or for that. I would think it would understand them both. Yeah. You could always ask it. Justine, ask it. What is a PAPI? See if it knows. It should, because it's all based on MuleSoft stuff. All right, so we have a clear contract for the shipping status. See what you came up with. Whatever you decided to do, it doesn't matter. It gave it the name of shipping status SAPI. That's good. It has the base path. We will need a tracking number. And so it has built out our main response schema by the carrier type, the status. That looks pretty good. Supporting schemas, our locations. We've got FedEx, UPS, DHL. We've got HTTP status codes. Yeah, I'll go with that. We can start off with it. And I only wanted to do this part. Questions for you. Now, notice this area that I have on mine. Yours may not have done this, but now it's got questions. So it wants to know, are you satisfied? So I'm going to do number 1. Yes. Number 2, batch processing. Should we include batch tracking capabilities, multiple tracking numbers in one request? I'm going to say no, because I'm going to kind of keep this simple at first. Okay. Rate limiting. Do not add rate any policy. Because see, rate limiting policy requires code snippets added. So too does security. Now, I told it not to do the security ones, but now it's asking me about rate limiting. And I'm going to say, do not add any policy snippets. Okay, so let's see. Number 4, additional carriers. Are there additional carriers besides these that you might want to support in the future? I'm going to say not at this time. Okay, so again, this is all the planning phase. Delivery notifications, number 5. Should the API support web? Oh, I like that. Should the API support webhook notifications for status updates? I like it, but I'm trying to keep it simple. What I have found, if it gets too much to do and too complex, then a lot of times will not parse nicely. So I'm going to say not at this time. We're going to keep it simple. We'll come back and try this. All right, so let's send that in. So if you have prompts and questions you've got to answer appropriate for yours. Justine, did it tell you what a PAPI was? Now notice down here at the bottom, it shows you what, I think this one's by default. I do not even know if you can change these. Anyone know if you can change these? But notice at the bottom, it says Claude-4-Sonnet. That's cool. So that's the LLM that we're using right there. All right, let's look and see what it did. Oh, look at our examples and everything. Okay, so we gave it the answers it asked. Okay, based on your responses, here's what you're going to get. Okay, no batch processing right now, no rate limiting, focus on these ones. Yep. And then here we go. Here is our, I just about forgot something really important. Okay, so we have, yeah, that's true, Tony. Tony put in the chat. For those of you watching the video later, I guess I should read some of the comment or the questions. It might start to forget things if it has too many details to consider. I have found that to be true. Yeah. And I want this agentic ready. Okay. And I haven't said anything about it being an agentic specification. So let's review what it has for mine anyway. And here we have, and I think this slides over. Yeah, here we go. Okay, so here's our chat window. And so we can see it's got a get request. Very good. We've got the tracking number. We're only going to be doing a get. This is not going to be a full blown, multi-method type of thing. It's a get by ID really is what it's going to be. That tracking number is our nested resource, hence our URI parameter. And let's see, coming down the line here, looks good. That's kind of the our response body. And then error handling, fine. I'm not picky at this point about that. And it's talking about the flows and everything, we're going to do our flows. We got it, which is true, our API main flow. Then it's going to have our other flows and ready for implementation. I do not want it. I only want it to do number 1. Okay, so I'm going to tell it, but before it does that, I want it agentic ready. Okay, so I'm going to say, oh, I forgot. Like I said, I talked to it like a coding buddy. I forgot to tell you to make it agentic ready. I didn't give it a lot of details. Let's see what it comes back with. Now I did, while it's thinking, I did start off with one and told it it's going to connect to a database. Oh man, they went to town on that one. It gave me all the different options for the databases in the code. I'm like, well, that's a little, because then it would not deploy because it was needing the rest of the configuration for the databases. So I'm like, okay, let's take the database off for a minute. It's like your little overachiever friend out here. All right, let's see what it did. Bring it up. All right, so now we can see that it started with our X agent enabled details here. So we have some topics that are listed. We also, now there's a big thing that's missing. I want to see if any of you who've worked with Agentforce can tell me what is missing here. There's something important missing in the agent part. Anyone know? Okay, so it did add. It did a fair job on the descriptions. I'll take it. And And then for each of the for the endpoint, it's going to provide, more of a description, because the agent would use that also. Anyone know what it is? Tagging it in as the API, or I should say the SF API catalog and SF API topic. So it's got topics defined. So let me tell it, oh, you need to remember to tag this API, and I could call it SAPI, but API with SF-API-catalog and SF-API-topic. Okay. And I could be pickier about how it's describing what the agent is going to do. I'm going to let it slide for right now. I'll show you mine from the earlier ones I worked on here in just a little bit. Okay, so a big part of what it does is, come on, did you submit that? The big part of what it's going to do is based on what you tell it. So that's going to be the important part. There you go. So, okay, it is. All right, catalog discovery. There it goes. Topic center integration. Yes, it did it. Okay. So again, you got to kind of tell it what to do. I know Tony's like the agent saying, dang, now you tell me. Hey, we're not going to overload you. We want you to do your work. Okay, so you now can switch once you are satisfied with the plan. Now you can still tweak it further, but this is kind of like your steps into it. So once we are ready to move forward and have it build the code out over here, we can either click on the hyperlink that says act mode, or you can come down here and click on the toggle at the bottom. Both of them are going to do the same thing. Or there's a shortcut. Notice there's a shortcut, toggle Win Shift A. I'm just going to click that. That's fast. So now it's going into action mode. It's like, all right, here we go. So we'll watch the window on the left in the communication, but it's also going to build out our code on the right. All right, so it's starting to ask me, do you want to use any organizational templates from Anypoint Exchange, a local jar file, generate from scratch without a template? I do not want to use a template. I want to generate from scratch without a template. Okay, go ahead and click on that. And all we're wanting for it to do right now, like I said, keep it governed. All I want you to do is the specification. I have been watching it to see if it's going to try to go into an implementation. It's very eager to do that. Yeah, here it goes. Okay, so it's saying shipping status SAPI. Very good. All right, so yes, create the project with the defaults. Or like I said, if you had a template, if your organization had, templates or whatever, you could use those. But anyway, we're just going with the defaults on this guy. How's everybody doing out there? Let me know how it's going. All right, now notice mine's at a phase where it finished that and it says now I want approval to create the Mule project. Again, notice this here. That's one of those commands from the MCP server that we saw. And that's the one that it's using. And it's telling us, now I need to call that create Mule project to generate this. Are you going to approve this? Now, again, like I said, you can set it up to auto approve. For me, for educational and me learning personally, I want to approve everything because I want to see what it's doing. So what it's doing is saying, I'm going to create this. So click on approve. So it says it failed to create it because it doesn't exist. And now it should come back with, I need to create it. And I'm going to say, yes, approve. And now it's creating it. And so notice it troubleshot itself. Hey, I don't see it there. Well, duh. You need to create it. But it's kind of funny. But it is very powerful when it's troubleshooting the project. I hope this project has problems. Do we ever say that? I hope my project has problems. I hope it does this time because I want you guys to see it troubleshoot because it does. We were hammering at the Atlanta workshop. I think I saw Evan's in here. We were hammering away at that thing, weren't we? Because it was troubleshooting. That was a weird instance where it was having some issues. Let me close this chat on the far right. Troubleshoot rhymes with double shot. Far right. This chat window on the right is actually from GitHub, I think. Is that the GitHub one? I'm going to close it. I don't know. I'm going to close the secondary sidebar. I'm going to close that one. Okay. So look what it's doing. My gosh, it's already down to 600 lines of code and more on its way. Let's take a break while it's doing it. You know, this is the beauty of using AI. It's like, oh, look what's ready for us. How is that for making code? Man. Yeah, for sure, Evans. It's so far. I know, Tony, we need to ask it if it'll create RAML. The reason that I am using OAS is for, well, 2 reasons. FYI, RAML is taking a backseat to OAS in the Mule curriculum realm. We're about to release an OAS, courses with OAS. I know. I feel your pain, Tony. He's not smiling in the chat. So new courses are coming out that are going to be OAS focused. And also if you're using, like we just did, the agentic specifications in your code, OAS is the one that it picks up on. I don't know if RAML was not ever updated to handle the SF things, but so that you are aware, that is the case going forward. Alrighty, so on the left, let's see what it did. Obviously, we see the code is built here. And so you could even take this code and go to Design Center and create a design over there. You know, so that's possible. And then you could go forward with the user interface and publish it to Exchange, bring it into, you know, so you still have many routes that you can take. We're gonna rely on Vibes. We want to give it a good workout, you know, so we're going to rely on Vibes for this. So let's see what it did here. Okay, so it told us it was going to do all of this. It wants to use a tool to implement. Okay, I don't want it to implement yet. Okay, so it's ready to implement. See how eager it is? Stop. It's doing, so we just created a specification. It's not an Exchange yet. If I let it go forward and want to go ahead and continue, it's going to use that file from a local source, and I want it in Exchange. Okay, so I'm going to tell it here instead of approving, mine's saying, and I don't know what yours is saying, but mine is saying, are you ready to implement this? No. I want to say, no, I want to publish this specification to Exchange. Okay, so again, you've got to be like the big sister and tell it what to do, or brothers or sisters. You got to tell it what to do so that it will actually, you know, be the outcome that you want it. Otherwise, it kind of gets out of order. And I see some new people come in the room. Hello. I know some of you have obligations at the top of the hour too. So it's recorded. And those of you, I know several people already pinged me that they're not able to make it for the actual time slot. So I hope you're seeing us on video later. Okay, so now it's saying, perfect. It answered me. Perfect. I understand you want to publish it to Exchange first. Let me publish the, it's saying, let me do that. So then it's saying create and manage the assets. That's what it's using from the MCP server. And this is, let me make sure that everything looks good there. Yeah, we'll go ahead and click approve. Hopefully it works first time. Sometimes it doesn't. Yeah, see how it'll do that. It does weird errors, and there is a parameter there. So it should go in and fix it. And we can see what it found. You could look at its comments and see, I need to provide a valid org ID. Okay, so it's not picking up my org ID, I have found. Okay, so notice on the group ID that it's coming back with COM company logistics here. That's not my group ID. So I'm going to hop over to Anypoint. Okay, so if you got that error also, go over to Anypoint and come into Anypoint and go into Access Management. Come over to your business groups on the left. Click on your business group name and copy the business group ID. Provide that. I don't know why it can't go get that because we're logged in. And I'm going to say, here is my group ID. And now it should move forward. But yeah, you'd think it would be able to do that. Oh, really? Remove the typing interface and switch to voice recognition input. Then the interaction will more resemble that of Star Trek. See, Tony, you have to come to all of these. You just make things so fun. That's hilarious. I'm gonna have to try that. I'm not gonna do it just yet. Let me get through what I have planned. Because there's no telling which way we'll go from there. Okay, so now it says it fixed what I entered. I'm going to approve it. It should have updated. This happened earlier too. It's saying that the format version is needs to be a positive number. That was kind of weird. And that's the OAS version number. I think it brought it down to just the 3.0 instead of the 3.0.3. This is what I saw, the behavior I saw earlier too. So it's going to pick up different things. Asset is invalid, could not be found within the package, the YAML. All right, well, let's troubleshooting it. Let's see what it's doing. All right, it's rewriting the code. So it is, yeah. I mean, it'll just kind of continue. If you continue to work with it, you'll see it doing different things. And like I said, it went way on a tangent on my third system API. I was having it create. And I was like, all right, stop. I told it to stop. We're going to start over. And here's what I want you to do. So I took control of the situation because it kept trying different things. It was creating my implementation before it was published to Exchange is the basic thing that was going on. And it finally did. We finally got it to work. And I was like, okay. So it's like, I understand. I'm deleting all the other files. I told it to delete. All right, let's see what it's doing now. So this is the fun of it. I mean, you just, it does do great work, but governance, kind of like Terminator, you gotta have that governance. All right, so I'm approving this one now. It reworked something. I'm not quite sure what that other one was. I know I've seen the format version for the version of OAS. And if you look at any of our, yeah, this is a good sign. This means it's working. It's publishing to Exchange. If you look at any new API specifications in Design Center, it's going to be the version 3.0. All right, what's it wanting to do? All right, shipping status happy. It wants to do change directory. So see some of the things it comes up with, like it's in the file structure of my workspace, and it's like it wants to clean and compile. So I'm going to say, did it successfully? Let's see. Okay, all right. Before I move forward, I'm not going to move forward yet. All right, it says excellent. Now it has told me here that it has published to Exchange with the Salesforce integration tags. And now it wants to validate the project compilation and create a summary. Okay, I'll let you do that. I'm going to say run. But in the meantime, let's go, if yours published to Exchange, yeah, and it's going to have to work with that too. All right, so I'm going to go to Anypoint. Let's go to Anypoint and let's go see if it's there. It said it is. And there it is, shipping status. Okay. So yes, we now see we have the get request for the shipping status. Let's send it in. Ta-da! Lovely. I did notice, and I'm testing this out, and I'll give you my results. Yeah, no doubt. 20,000 AI tokens consumed later. Use a trial account. Come over here to, you made me, oh, okay, the tags. I was going to say, I forgot what I was saying. All right, so the tags over here in our normal process using the user interface, the graphical interface, we would actually tag these here. I'm purposely not going to tag it yet for two reasons. One, it's not secured, and I know it's not going to populate over. We want it to populate into API catalog, right? But it's not secure. It's not going to meet the criteria here yet anyway. But the other part of it is I know it's in the specification code, and I want to see if I can bypass it actually being tagged here. I'll let you know, because I'm testing all these through. Because I recently created, let me go back to Exchange. I recently created several customer profile, customer legacy system, customer orders. I'm working on a mission here. But I do want to point out something to you. Do you guys see this? Look, application type asset in Exchange. Who knows what that is? Why is that there? Was there a Diane Kesler 2025? I'm sure. Maybe not in this one. Yeah. But notice these application type assets. What are they? Anybody know? No. Bonus points. We now can see. Yes, they are for deploying to CloudHub too. Yes. We now can see the asset type called application. And what that means is, and even in the asset, any type here, if you do the drop down, oh, there it is. Application type is listed. Now, when we deploy an implementation from Studio or from Anypoint Code Builder or in a pipeline, when you're doing, now remember, CloudHub 2 works over top of Runtime Fabric, right? Yes. So when we're talking about CloudHub 2, remember the technology under it, the protocol under it is Runtime Fabric. So what happens is it's Kubernetes based. The build that gets built in Studio or Anypoint Code Builder, you're going to see it in a minute. It creates this snapshot. This one was created as a result of the snapshot that was created in Anypoint Code Builder. And so it has always done this. It has always put this asset in Exchange. Now, where else do we see them? St. John, yes, you got that right. If we go to the Runtime tab and we go to Runtime Manager, and let's just say I want to deploy an app. I'm going to go, in my case, to Dev. Okay. And so there's, shouldn't be anything here. I'm going to deploy an app. And I want to use one that is an app asset type in Exchange. I can click on import from Exchange, and I'm going to search for one of those. And there is that implementation right there. Okay. So it's kind of like, I don't want to call it a repository because it really, I guess it could be considered one. you know, for your digital assets or your, you know, binary assets. But this is where it has been ever since CloudHub 2 came out. This was happening. And the only way you could see it was to actually like hack into it. You could hack into it and show that it was there. But this is where we actually really do see it. So even on that one, I didn't do the shipping one yet, but I did the legacy. It's in the name of it, the legacy implementation. I'm pretending that's going to be like a AS400 or some kind of system. But anyway, that is where it resides. You can even view it in Exchange and it's going to come up as an asset type. And that's all you really see. You don't really get, you know, any other information like we do for a specification. But this is, yes, this is where it will put your application. So we do know that if we go back to all of our assets in Exchange, that the API spec is here in our shipping status, if you're doing shipping status. But the implementation hasn't made it here yet. And I wouldn't let it do it until we had this here. So again, control that. Okay, control that. All right, so back to business here. So it was coming across some issues in just checking. Let me try it again. Let me tell it to run. I don't know what it was doing last. Let me see. And I'm getting this shell integration unavailable. I need to find out from our Vibe gurus of what's going on there. It says to update VS Code, and I have. So I don't know why I'm still getting that. All right, so now it's saying, perfect, let me create your documentation for the completed agentic shipping status SAPI. So it's creating a README. And it did do the build. Look at the build over here. So it's created the implementation, folks. There's the build right there. It built it. Little stinker. It built it. So in that process, somewhere that I said approve, I allowed it to go ahead and build it. So not only did it, oh, that's pretty. I like that. Not only did it create, there you go. So look at it now. It's saying published to Anypoint. Did it do the, oh no, it's ready for implementation. Okay, it just published this as the documentation. That means that should have the documentation. Let me see. Shipping status. Does it have more documentation here? No. I don't know where it put that extra documentation then, because it created that README file. I like it though. See if it's on the summary. There it is. That's where it went. Okay, so it created that. But let me see, is it actually exactly handles? No, it isn't exactly, because the key features are not there. Yeah, I don't know where that README actually goes. If anybody knows that, that'd be helpful. Tony says, I have an idea in the idea exchange that Anypoint runtime manager should support an option to revert back to the previously deployed application when the new application fails to deploy. That does happen. You know that, don't you? In runtime manager? Let me show you. I'm sure you know this. For CloudHub 2. Oh, please upvote it. So you're asking for something a little bit to be able to gracefully, because you know, let me go to where these are deployed. You do know about this, Tony, right? Tell me what's different from this. You can go back to previous successful deployments. If you're talking, you're muted. You want it to automatically go back? Here's where he's talking about, you guys. Vote. Vote, vote, vote. Not to discard the existing application after we have, that way. Yeah. I wonder if this would do it. Vote early and vote often. Because on your deployments, you should be able to go back. What you could do is try this feature. It's in the history. as long as it was a successful, the way I understand it when we teach it is as long as it was a successful deployment, you can go back to it. But, and this, when you click this and there's multiple different application files, it should have the other files here. Tony, you need to do, oh, probably. Is that a CloudHub only feature? Yeah, I would think so. But now on the applications, let me go back here to Exchange. There is versioning on these. Now, I don't have other versions on mine, but you might have versioning there. Yeah. Interesting. Okay, back on track. So it has now given us a documentation of what was done. That's really nice, you know, and it tells us, you know, what happened and what we have here. And, you know, so now it says it's ready for the next phase, API scaffolding. So like I said, I don't know what it built here. It just puzzles me a little bit. I guess it did the documentation is all. The YAML, maybe it was the aftermath of that. But at any rate, I do like that. Look how nicely documented this is. I think I'll just like keep that anyway. It tells a lot about what's there. And that just may be part of what's in our README, because if we go to that folder itself, it'll be in our folder locally on our system, you know. Okay, so now we're ready to, it says, okay, I'm done with you. Now it says start a new task. And now, even though it's a new task, it still is going to be where we can say, okay, now let's deploy this, or now let's create a implementation. Okay, and you can leave it in the acting part. It's still going to communicate and ask us questions. Now let's create an implementation. Boom. All right, now it's going to go. I'm going to close the README and the stuff that we had up here for our specification and kind of clear that. Okay, Tony, I got it. So he's saying on this, when you vote, where did that go? I must have lost it, but oh, here it is. On this vote, you've got to click it. Okay, walk me through. We got to click upvote here, upper right, right? And then where do you click again? Click it twice. Yeah. So it did require it twice, right? Upvote. So you got to click that upvote 2 times. You posted that in 2021. Wow. All right. We voted, Tony. But I wonder if that other feature is going to be, you know, what's helpful. Okay, so let's see. Now it's asking me questions. So this is the best part here, where it's going to start interacting and, you know, so it says, do you want to generate the flows based on the API specification with full carrier integration? Full carrier integration sounds interesting. Or start with basic API kit scaffolding first. Yeah, let's go with that one. Let's keep it simple. And of course, if you needed to tell it to do more or whatever, you can. Let's go ahead and let it scaffold first. That means it's going to take our specifications. It's going to create the main flow and then our private flows as a result of that, right? Oh, no, the upvote seemed to take 2 clicks too, Tony. I didn't downvote it. I upvoted it. All right, so now it's saying, perfect. I'll start with the basic API kit scaffolding. And it's telling me what it'll do. Yeah, we'll go ahead and click on approve. All right, now it's saying it's not open in VS Code. Oh, you know, I did close those. Whoops. Okay. Let me see. It's asking to do it. Maybe it'll do it. It says I need to open. Yeah, it's telling me to do it. I was going to go do it, but yeah, sure, go do it. That's fine. See, it even helps me be better. I know. I know, and the window's even closed. Where's the sound canceling on this? It's supposed to have sound canceling in Kajabi. I've seen it before. Let me see if I can find it. Let me see. Reduce mic noise. Auto settings. Reduce background noise from your mic. Okay, I just did it. Tell me if I'll let you know when he crows, and you tell me if you hear him. All right. He is proud. He was strutting around in there. He's a good dad too. You know, sometimes animals don't like their young. He's really good. Okay, so let's see. We're starting all over. Oh, wow. So it's kind of refreshed. Let's create a sappy. Wait a minute. Where did it go? It kind of disappeared. Wow. All right, so that's interesting. Let me go open up that file for the shipping status. Oh, no, it's here. It completed. Okay. Well, I feel better. Dang, that was a little concerning. Okay, so it finished. It didn't even ask me other questions about it. Usually it'll ask some questions. All right, so let's go to the file, the Package Explorer up here in the upper left. And let's come down to the shipping status. If you did that or whatever you did, open up the source, open up the main and the Mule. And inside here should be our system API. XML, in other words, the shipping status, SAPI XML. Go ahead and click on it to open it. And let me slide this down a little bit. And now it's asking if we want to start building our project. That's interesting because we have our project here. If we look, it did not finish it. I don't know if yours did, but mine did not work. I've got shipping status in 2 different places. Let me look at this one because that is kind of got a boo-boo here. Look at this, folks. All right, so I've got shipping status here and shipping status here. I've got 2 of them. That's kind of weird. I don't know what it did. It certainly had a hiccup. Let me see what this one looks like. Yeah, it's doing the same thing. I wonder if there's any. Yep, no. All right, well, I'm going to go back to Vibes. And I'm going to say, what happened to my implementation? And it should remember the history. Maybe. I don't know. Did yours work? I know. It was so confident. It was like, here, you just keep on going. Yeah, see, this is the this is where you can start building your projects too, which is pretty cool. And use MuleSoft Vibes for some of this is like at the architect level too. Create an MCP server, connect to an agent. I can see the issue. It's empty. Let me check. It's checking on it. Project structure, no doubt. What's missing? Based on your spec. Based on, yes. Okay, let me tell it what to do here. So what happened? Implementation is completely missing, no doubt. All the flows, yeah. So I'm going to tell it. I asked for you to create an implementation. I'll keep with the terminology. Like I said, that's what it seems to use a lot is implementation. From my shipping status SAPI that is in Exchange. And I think, how can I put this nicely? I don't want to say, I know, really. Tony has in the chat, tell it off gently, use a velvet hammer. I want to be nice. I don't want to make it mad. Not that it would, I don't think it would get mad, but I think something broke in the process. How's that? Is that velvet enough? Something broke in the process. Hey, this is what's nice about the study groups is it's live. You never know what you're going to come across. So let's see what it's going to say. And while it's doing that, let me see if I can. Tony says in the chat, I, for one, welcome our new AI overlords. Oh, you're a suck up. Did you not watch Terminator? I'm going to approve whatever it thinks it's doing. Watch is going to really go sideways now. It's probably listening to my audio. I do not have voice enabled, but we know better. What do I need to approve now? I should be reading this. It says, okay, I'm going to scaffold it now. Did it tell me what happened? Let me use the MCP server name down layers. I understand you were trying to implement that from Exchange. Something went wrong. Let me help you create the proper implementation. Okay, so it owned it. It owned it. Something went wrong. It's not owning what went wrong, but let's approve it. So like I said, you can kind of keep up with what it is or not doing. Let me see if I can find the link for this recording or for this session. I don't see it. I'm going to have, let me see if I can log in on my laptop. So I use the last little bit of time here. Okay, what do we got here? Now it's doing what it should have. Okay, so now it's telling me it's going to add the HTTP connector. This is what it should have done in the first place because I was like, oh, wow, where did it go? It's done. Okay, so now it's telling me it's going to search for the HTTP connector. So approving it. And again, if I had auto approved this, it'd be zipping all through all of this super fast. Okay, so there's the connector. Okay, so it's getting the details on the connector, telling me where it's getting it from. See, it's getting the HTTP connector from Exchange. I'm going to approve that. And maybe part 2 will be on what the other stuff that I worked on, because our goal for today is to try to get this published, or I should say deployed to CloudHub. All right, so let's see what we're getting now on mine. Let me go ahead and slide this over so I can see it a little bit better. All right, so now it is generating the mule flow, approve. Wow. Okay, kit not found or module not found. Now, when I've seen it do this before, it'll go back in and try to find it again. Let me approve it again. Ah, yeah, it's just hitting a brick wall. Anybody see anything that jumps out? I asked you to create with her. Huh? I don't know why it got lost in the first place, but that could be why we're getting this. So, Ethan, we spoke too soon. We spoke too soon. All right, let me see if I can get logged in here on my laptop, and I'll show you some of the other stuff that, oh, what is this? Oh, it's doing something. You look away and it starts to show off. Okay, there's something about this. There's a tool that it's using. Notice that tool execution. There's tools that it's using that I find fascinating when I'm looking. Now that it fixed itself. I looked away to go to my laptop. I was giving up on it. And what does it do? Yeah, Maven issue. Yeah. So anyway, it did fix, but it's documenting the prompts here of what it did. And it's kind of cool to go back and read through that and see what it did. So it fixed it. Woohoo! So let's see what we got here, folks. Oh, it's not done. Sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt it. It's doing the global XML file now, I think. Yeah, so it's kind of producing, but I love that it will like fix itself. It'll troubleshoot itself. So that's pretty impressive. Like I said, at the Atlanta meetup, the Atlanta meetup, and it was failing and failing, and it was doing its best. It was a Maven. What was that, Ethan? Do you remember? Or Evan? I'm sorry. It was a Maven. One of the actual modules or something that it was trying to access was not working. I mean, most of us were hitting that. I think everybody who was doing it was having that issue. Okay, so now it's going to change directory and do a Maven clean compile. Okay, we'll click run. And it is saying, again, there's some errors coming up here. Not a valid statement. And it should troubleshoot that also. Maven clean compile again. And looking better. Build success. Yes, 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 yes. Build success. Okay, so we want to approve it. Wants to execute another command. Approve. All right, so now our build is successful. We know that it has passed all of the phases of the Maven cycle, right? So we can run it. Let's come up here. Well, first of all, let's look at it. Let's look at it first. If we go to our shipping status at SAPI XML, and then let me slide that over a little bit. And if I just go to there's the main flow. That is our main API kit router flow. And then if I go to get status, this is one of our other private flows. And so this is where we're going to log in, set the tracking number. You know, there's these are 3 set variables. Now it's set up right now. It should be. And now I found out that when I did this before and I set it up to run off of our example data, it didn't. Okay, so let's check that. Let's check that. I had to go back and tell it it's not working. You know, it had hard coded some values in error handling. Anyway, so let's go look at our asset here and go into shipping status. The one that I'm going to test and run it locally is the status tracking number. And I'm going to get, let's see, here's a tracking number. We'll do UPS. Okay, because it needs a tracking number here. Oh, it populated in automatically. Okay, duh. All right, so in our URI parameter, we've got a tracking number. Sometimes the sometimes it will still authenticate based on what that tracking number should be. So there we go. Okay. So we've got, you know, our results are working there. Tony's mentioned it prefers property files over YAML files. Seems to the .property type of file over the YAML, but you know, I bet that you could request it to do what you wanted it to do. I think I just go with the defaults, or I went with the default. So you could you know, tell it to no, I want you to use you know .yaml files for the configuration files. So you could probably control it. Okay, so we're going to do the GET request and test it locally. So we're going to go ahead and run. I'm going to do without debugging and just make sure that it will run without any trouble. I'm going to go ahead and get Advanced REST Client. Don't laugh at me because I use Advanced REST Client instead of Postman. Advanced REST Client is what I teach off of. So don't pick on me. I do use Postman for work, but this is the easy peasy for a lot of people who are using this. Don't judge me. I'm not AI. I'm a person. I have feelings. Localhost, :8081. API, and let me get the endpoint because I don't have it wrote it, so I don't really know what the endpoint is. Let me find out. Status tracking. There we go. Status. Oh, it's long. Okay, so it's over here. This is where the mocking service comes in handy. Just check your mocking service. Going to be status. Include history. Oh, we got all kind of stuff we're adding here. Let's see if this is even going to work. All right, that's what I grabbed from Exchange. Says no. I do have a query there. Let me see if it finished deploying first locally, or that it's running. Did you run? Run with debugging. Come on. There we go. I thought I clicked it. Yes. And that pop-up for asking about Java, there is a way to fix that. I'll try to do another little recording on that because it is not running as a result of not picking up. It says Java ready here. I'll tell you what, just to save some time, because that's not going to work because it's not running. Why is it? There is a way, and I didn't do it on this one, but I did do it on my other one. And for the time that we're at right now, I'm not going to bring my laptop in. I guess we'll aim for a third segment. But let's go ahead and try to deploy it even without testing it locally, because then we can test it from CloudHub. So let's say, let's deploy to CloudHub. And what it's going to need, it's going to assume an environment that you want to deploy it to. So wherever you want this to deploy to, by default, it should be sandbox. If you're using just the default environments, I've got mine set to, I'm going to say, let's deploy this to CloudHub to environment POC. I've got a POC environment. So let's see it deploy there, and then we'll test it from Runtime Manager because my Java is not behaving here. And what it's requiring me to do is to configure the one of the ways is to configure the Java to be used, what's embedded in Anypoint Code Builder. And I did that on my laptop, and I have not done that on this one. So I'll capture that. I need to pull up the steps to do it. It's basically just locating where the Java version is, or where Java 17 is installed on your system, and putting that in your class path for Anypoint Code Builder. And this is a Windows system, so it might be different on a Mac. Okay, so it's created now my mule-artifact.json file. Click approve. Go, go, go. We've got 6 minutes. You can do. Oh, this is the error that I came up with also. The first deployment worked, and then this started happening. See this spawn EI or spawn EN val? And that is a Windows-based error when I researched it. I'm going to try it again. It may not work, but what does work is, I'll show you in a second. So Vibes is trying to do this, and it had some challenges with the Windows. There we go. Maven cleans. Let's see if it's going to do it. Let's see if it'll overcome. If it doesn't, and it keep one of what's weird. Okay, so I had 3 that I created, like I said earlier. Now it's failing. And the very first one deployed beautifully to CloudHub, no problem. The second one kept doing this. So what I did is I bypassed Vibes, and I went in Anypoint Code Builder itself and deployed it there, from there, and that worked. And now here we're back to the third one I had not finished deploying because it was stuck. And I was just going to go to Anypoint Code Builder, because remember, all this is happening right now. Vibes is in control. Okay. Spawn of the Redmond Devil. Yes, I'm sure it is. I'm sure it is. Hey, have y'all heard the rooster? Yes, that is true. That is true. He said that's akin to picking up that piece of thread off the floor after the vacuum cleaner has failed several times. Human intervention. Human in the loop. All right, let's see what it's doing here. Come on. Can we have a win today? Can we have a win? You've got 4 minutes, Vibes, to prove yourself. It's okay. It's still changing directories here. It's doing Maven clean package. This is kind of cool to see, though. I mean, I do like this because how many times have we had to do that ourselves? Right? Go in here and hack away at it and try to get it to work and all that fun stuff. Oh, now it's skipping the test. It's giving it its best. Successful build. Oh. We might be there. This is, oh man, so close. Where did it fail? It just bombed. Reconnect. All right, we're wanting to do it again. Look how eager it is. It's like, come on, I'm going to do it. It's probably even got a timer now because now you got, oh, it's doing that one again. Okay, so that one just kept popping up, you know, and it'll eventually, let me show you what it'll eventually do. It'll eventually come back with, you know, I've given it the best. Oh, wait a minute. This might be good. It finally on my laptop, when I was like, all right, you're done. It finally came back with here's what I did do. Yeah, here you go. Here's where it's telling us. Let's see. I don't think it deployed it to CloudHub though. Yeah. Okay. So look at here's what it will ultimately do. Okay. It's going to ultimately say, here's what I have done. And there's an issue with this identified, and here's what you need to do, but it's not doing this. And so I'm just going to tell you the status. You've got to do it manually now. It'll tell you to here's what you can do. So I want to ask it, and here's what I did before. Is I asked it, what is this sprawling error? You know, and it told me it was Windows based. Okay, so that's kind of where it was at. Let's see if it will work what I did before. Not sure. We're going to give it a try. Let me tell it to do one more thing. Try to build one more time. Let me try that. I want to see a successful build. But what we do want to do is go ahead and go into Anypoint Code Builder itself. Because like I said, right now we are working with the Vibes side. Vibes is in control. And build fail. Yeah, I don't know if it's going to even deploy with that failing at this point. Why is the build failing when it worked once? Oh, set location. Set location is a good thing. Anyway, if you need to drop it, so we have 1 minute, and I don't think that Vibes is going to pull it out. We shall see. So if you do have to drop, okay, question in Slack. Okay, can we have some more permanent way to have MuleSoft Vibes, not just by creating trial dev Salesforce instances that have an expiry date? Any idea? In the case of, there are a couple of us who do have orgs that are partner orgs, like the one I'm using is with Cloud Blazer org. And so there might be something that can be worked out there. Or I know Integration Quest also does have a partner org, and we could talk to Ryan. So send a request, and we can see if that is something that we can help you out with. Philip's saying every time a prompt is sent, Agentforce opens a new terminal. Apparently so. Over here, yeah. Yeah, because you can see the PowerShell there. They must be separate. Okay, so I'm going to pause there. Let me see if it will let me. I'm going to come out of Vibes. This will be my last thing. And probably have a third session because we still want to carry it forward and, secure it with, I don't think I'm going to use Vibes to put policies. I'm going to use the interface for policies. But let's go up here to our actual API here, or our implementation. Okay, open. There we go. And I know there's a second one here. See, this is what, I don't know what it did. It looks like it created two, which might be part of its problem. But I'm going to come up here and try clicking on this and see if we can get it to deploy. So if I come up here and I run the commands, this is now in the Anypoint Code Builder. MuleSoft deploy. We need CloudHub. Import. No, that's not it. So there's something apparently wrong with this for it not to allow us to deploy it with the commands up here. So something is amiss. I'll have to troubleshoot it. We're going to wrap. I'm not going to carry over because you know what? It'll be 15 minutes later and we've held it longer than planned. So we're going to do part 3. How's that? Ah, there you go, Tony. That's good. Every time a bell is rung, an angel gets its wings. That's kind of like every time a prompt is sent, the Agentforce sends a new terminal. All right. Well, let me wrap here real quickly. So I hope that it was informative. Any questions? We've had questions along the way, but are there any right now that you'd like to address? Any questions? Or know that when RJ comes back his day off, that we will be, he will upload, the video to YouTube. He told me not to bother. He'd go ahead and take care of that. So I will let him do that. And next week we have, do we have part 3 next week? That's what RJ has for next week. Maybe he already knew that I needed to do that. I think we're doing part 3. This was the slide deck he gave me. So yeah, I'll see you all next week. Those of you watching on the YouTube channel, stay tuned. Catch up with what you can, do what you can, and then we will definitely be continuing this, and hopefully we can wrap next time. And I'll get my laptop stuff over in here so you can see really it was successful on the other side too. So thank you all. Have a wonderful Friday, and great to see you all. Great to hang out with you, and more to come. Yeah. Thanks so much, folks. Very good. Did anybody hear the rooster after all? Did he kind of did that mute work? I did add a filter. Oh, okay, good. Well, I'll tell him he can crow all he wants. All right, folks. See you next week. Have a great weekend.